All right, guys, let's make a start here. We are all aboard. Great to be with everyone today. I'm Paul here with Bondex, and I am joined by Ignacio Palmera, our CEO, and by Sam, our COO. Sam, I forgot your second name there, but now remember, Sam Rollins. It just came back to me in a flash. Today, we are going to be going through a bunch of things. We're going to be going through what is happening with the future of BDXN and what 2025 is going to look like, revenue generating opportunities, and all of the above. So we are pretty excited to kind of share with you some cool stuff today. But I'd love to, before we dive into things, Ignacio, last week was a really big week. How are you feeling? How are you holding up today?
Doing great, but I'm not gonna lie, guys. It was number one in my professional career, and when I did M&A, there were fire drills, and there were like transactions taking billions of dollars that would require 48 hours of really little sleep and like crazy amount of work. And I think unless you've done your own token launch or maybe done an IPO in the traditional market, you will never know the amount of incredible craziness and things that take place when you take a market to launch. So I will say that it was an incredibly tough week, and now it's time to rebuild. And for me, I think a lot of sacrifice went into it. Mental, physical, everything. And now we're very much on track for a big counteroffensive on every single front. So I'm really excited. I'm more determined than anything, and turning any anger or frustration into fueling my fire in my belly to make Bondex a reality. And just wanted to kind of remind everyone that, the token is one aspect of things, right? But at the end of the day, what we're building here is much bigger. It's a Web3 professional network, the first of its kind, the leading professional network in Web3. And we're developing a passport for the future of work, not just in Web2, but also in Web3 for the entire internet. We really do believe that reputation is the new resumes. Resumes are completely obsolete. They don't say who you are. They get lost in the ether when you're trying to get opportunities. It's impossible to find the right talent with just static LinkedIn profiles and CVs. And now we're going to have messaging experiences that are highlighted and verified, proven value over just noise, scams, frauds, unsubstantiated claims. Proof over noise. Your network is really your net worth. The importance of authentic, monetizable relationships that build on trust and proof, not just empty connections or claims, is going to be what the future is built on. And that's the infrastructure that we're building for the future of work. And that's what's exciting.
Really, really good. And yeah, big week last week, like you say. Really, really good to hear that. Be reminded about what it is we're actually building here. Sam, how was your week? How's the last 7 days been for you?
It was similar to Ignacio's. Done a lot of stuff over my career. Nothing quite like that. I think me, Ignacio, and the other founder, Martin, we were locked in a room for 72 hours together and got to know him a bit better than I ever thought I would, which is always fun. But yeah, it was an absolute war room in there. And we got it done. We got everything launched. Didn't exactly pan out the way we'd planned, but stuff never does. You plan for 10 scenarios, and the 11th scenario happened. That's just kind of the way it is. And it was nice to have the weekend to catch up on sleep and then get back to it on Sunday and make sure we're forging a path forwards.
Yeah. That obviously we've released a statement around kind of the launch and that kind of spike at the start, and why that isn't a rug pull, which is what many of people have kind of accused Bondex of, is that's a rug pull. But Sam, I'd love you to maybe explain it. I know we've explained it before, but just again in your own words, what happened there at the start, and why do some charts kind of show a big spike at the start and some charts don't? And what's that all that about?
Yeah, it's really interesting. So it comes down to what we planned for versus what we were expecting. I think that the thing of the sniper, which is, it sounds like a really cool term and definitely sounds aggressive. But essentially what they do is they look for these DEX pools and they basically suck all the liquidity and the tokens out of it by bribing the contract. And it's a fascinating technical problem, or I guess it's just the way that blockchain works, really. It's kind of been theorized and talked about, and we're reading about it about a year ago about some guys that were experimenting with this. And it's a little bit different when it happens to you. It feels a lot more personal than just reading a theoretical paper or a blog by some blockchain guy who thinks that he's figured out how to do it. And it's really interesting. We did some digging afterwards because we just didn't know what happened. None of us or our partners could tell what was happening. We kind of just saw this huge spike. And usually the sniper wouldn't have had such an adverse effect on our TGE and on the price as it looked. but because of the exchange accidentally opening early, that basically meant the sniper bumped into that exchange. And these things are all automated, right? There's no humans there saying, "Oh, that shouldn't happen. We should stop it." And that basically meant that when the other exchanges came online, what's typically called an oracle, which looks at prices across dexes and sexes, that the oracles on say Bybit, BitGet, the other exchanges, they would look for that price and grab that price, and they're supposed to grab it from the dex. That's how these things are set up. Because there was another sex online, they rank sexes higher than dexes, which logically makes sense. I understand why it's built like that, and that meant they grabbed the wrong price, and that meant that for a couple of moments at the start of TGE, all the exchanges were equally as confused as we were. All of our market makers were as confused as we were. And all of our community was as confused as we were. I think that's just a lot of confusion. I remember being in the war room with the team, looking around, like no one really knew what was happening. This wasn't something we'd been told could happen or that was likely to happen to us, but it did. And I think that that's why there's this huge spike at the beginning. It's a very low liquidity, so not much price or tokens are actually sold during that transaction. But it just spikes the price up because no one else was ready to buy yet. They weren't supposed to be online. And I mean, that's the gist of it, right? I think that you look at across a lot of, I think this particular sniper is a bit notorious. They've done, I believe, 9 other dex hits over the past 2 months. And that's what our researchers found. And ironically, they made money on 8, lost money on 1. They lost money on ours. We're the one they lost on because that sex came online early. And to put it into scale for everyone, they put up almost 450K to attack our launch, which is a crazy amount of money. So these are not, random guys out there. These are organized people doing these things. And it's not something that's easy to do. And it's certainly not something that's cheap.
That's crazy. Almost $500,000 to specifically attack the token launch there. Ignacio, do you have anything else that you want to add on to this?
Yeah, I mean, listen, guys, we've been building the company for 4 years. This was really hard in terms of, to watch it go down. At the end of the day, we were the victims of manipulation, and the perfect storm was created by bad actors, right? We're running a full investigation that will take time to see if there were any other bad actors involved. But ultimately, we could either crumble down and call it a day or keep moving forward at the same time as we run that investigation, and the truth will come out. The truth will come out about, who were the bad actors, and they will answer for it. And we're doing that in parallel. But that's not the important part. The important part is to keep building. We're here for the long term. Because we've been around for 4 years, we were prepared for every scenario. And we have plenty of firepower to keep building and keep delivering. And ultimately, what matters is to build a company on the fundamentals that generates revenue, that you're able to do buybacks of your token with in the future. That's what the best companies in the space are. That's what the true alts are. And that's what we're building for. So ultimately, it's all about the future. It's all forward thinking. However, I have a big grudge and a big bone to pick. And I am doing things within my power with very professional third parties and on-chain investigators to get to the bottom of it. But ultimately, it's all about the future and what's ahead in 2025 and what we have coming up, which is going to excite the world. And that will be reflected, not financial advice disclosed, but I think eventually, if you deliver the value as a company, that will be reflected in the value of the token, which is not always the same. In 2008, Jeff Bezos' families wrote a lot of letters about the Amazon stock price versus the metrics of the company. And that's very true to us. The metrics of our company on a fundamental basis are very good. And the things that are coming up next are very exciting. Number one, we have a new acquisitions that are coming up. We're hoping to close the deal soon and announce it very soon of something that is going to change, expand the services that we're able to provide, scale revenue, provide a lot of incredible clients and to the Bondex ecosystem. Number two, Web3 careers. As everyone knows, this is the number one job board in the space. We acquired that earlier in the year. And what we're going to be doing is bringing on-chain utility for the Bondex token. When people post jobs on there, it's going to have an on-ramp and on-ramp mechanism, and that's going to bring true utility and again cause buy pressure into the token as well. Something to answer is what is a social economic network? There's a lot of things in our roadmap, which is expanding the type of opportunities that we have, right? So that means fractional work, gig economy, freelance, and again, everything underpinned by the token, giving the token more velocity, more utility, more value. And that's what the social economic network is about, is that in the future, things are becoming more fractional, and social, professional networking and opportunities, and the way we monetize our time, skills, and attention are going to change, and we need new infrastructure for it. And that's what we're building for. By aggregating and bridging everything we use today, from Telegram to Discord to Twitter to LinkedIn, which is what we do today, all into a passport that navigates everything with trust and through reputation. And then something that everyone wants to know about is when it's going to be Airdrop Season 2. I think that some people, there was a misunderstandings of how to claim, what to claim, how you were eligible. We're going to do our best to make sure that for Airdrop Season 2, things are really, really crystal clear. But there's obviously Airdrop Season 2 coming because we have an ecosystem rewards pool that is going to distribute airdrops on a continual periodic basis. As users, you will have to provide value, interact, and keep building your reputation at the end of the day, which will also be good for you. And that will be reflected in those airdrop Season 2.
Yeah, it's really good. I mean, I know from my side, I didn't join Bondex because of a potential price action or anything like that. I joined it because what we're building is really, really exciting. I think that the idea of reimagining how CVs can work, with on-chain reputation and how that can help generate more economic opportunity. And I know something we've been talking a lot about this year is how do we generate more economic opportunity for our users? How do we help users earn, and as you mentioned there, fractionally? How do we create a new way of thinking about airdrops so it's not just a one moment in a company's history, but it's a way of rewarding those users who stay with us and actually contribute and show up. And I'd love you to maybe just double click a bit more about why the recent acquisition of Web3 Careers is so strategically important, and why future acquisitions as well will really help us achieve this goal of becoming the leading professional network and really allowing people to earn in new ways through things like bounties, through things like referrals and that type of stuff.
So yeah, I think the strategic importance of Web3 Careers for us cannot be understated. One of the things we talked about is early as December, we were discussing how do we get more candidates and more jobs for our users. Like we want to make sure that we're able to provide the most jobs for our users and make sure that as people apply for as companies apply for those jobs, there's more candidates coming. It's a bit of a chicken and egg, right? You've got to have both sides of that for it to really work. And as we were discussing this, we kind of went, we can build our own job board and continue to work on that and slowly grow it. And then the opportunity arose for us to purchase Web3 Careers. And we went, this is amazing. This is exactly what we've been looking for. This gets us all the candidates, all of the jobs as well for those candidates. So when you guys are browsing for jobs or thinking about what to apply for, they're all in one place, right? And they're all soon going to be powered by the technology that underpins Bondex as well. So strategically, it's really important for us for that, just on a volume scale of making sure that, we want to become the central place of when you think about talent and think about jobs, depending whether you're a company or individual, that it's on Bondex, right? It's powered by Bondex. And that's what we wanted to do. The second part of that, when it comes to future acquisitions, they're going to be in slightly different spaces. They won't always be just in jobs. They'll be in adjacent spaces that help build a wider ecosystem, especially around talent. That's one of the areas that we really want to focus on over the next year, is thinking about how do we get talent like yourselves listening here discovered? How do we get them best access to those opportunities? And how do we make sure that you guys stand out? Like it's one of those things that, we've launched some recent tools that we're going to be announcing in the next couple of weeks that use AI and other tooling to help you guys get to the top of the job pile or the resume pile, so to speak. So we want to make sure that on that side, that's all happening, as well as fraction opportunities. It's something we've talked about and we're working on. It takes a bit of time to retool ourselves from, just doing long-term employment to doing fractional employment as well. But we want to make sure that even you guys who, want to pick up a little bit of work in the evenings or on the weekend for extra money, then Bondex is able to provide those opportunities as well. And so those are coming soon down the pipe as well.
Really exciting, Sam. And I think one of the things a lot of people will be thinking is, okay, they've looked at the BDXN token, they've gone through the tokenomics. There's a part here about like revenue distribution, token buybacks. I'd love to know, where's the revenue coming from, Ignacio? How does Bondex make money? It's quite a simple question.
So, Bondex makes money several ways, right? Number one is job postings on Web3 Careers, right? So people post to get an advertisement and start beginning to get a quality candidate, quality candidates into their applicant tracking systems and get hired. Number two is our own job platform, right? And that's bounty based. So companies post bounties and then we crowdsource candidates to them. cutting the time and money that it takes for companies to hire, completely disrupting the traditional recruitment model. And then we charge a success fee when people get hired. So that's on the talent side of things, right? What are things that are coming up? For example, it's already available on Web3 Careers, premium subscriptions, but we're going to have them on our own talent platform as well. And the really big one to me and the holy grail is advertising, right? The bridge between Web2 and Web3 data presents a goldmine of data that will be very valuable to advertisers. However, hate how Web2 has been structured and the current structure of the Web2 internet model is, which is exploiting your data. Your data is incredibly valuable, and today it gets exploited by all these middlemen services, data monopolies, all the Web2 social networks, etc. We want to give power back to the user. The user will choose if and how their data gets monetized and gets a revenue share from it, right? And that's advertising as well as data monetization, right? We have a wealth of data that can be used by AI services with your consent for training, things like that. And then again, the idea is to redistribute that value to the users directly and also indirectly through the buy and burn mechanisms we have for the token. And ultimately also enterprise subscriptions, right? That's what we're building for, which is super, super exciting, which is going to be, you need a premium subscription tier to look for talent. And many more utilities are coming soon with some of the acquisitions that we're making and some of the things we're building in-house.
Really good. I know that, when you look at the business model there of LinkedIn and how they make money, it's absolutely incredible. And I think that the opportunity to create something unique in this space with Bondex is really exciting. So really, really glad that I suppose now we have a lot of the work ahead of us. And we've got an unbelievable foundation to build that from. And there's some really cool stuff that we really can't wait to kind of show everyone that we're going to build. I'm just going through one of the things that's come up a lot this week around users wanting or having issues trying to claim. I'm wondering whether it's Sam or Ignacio, you kind of want to speak into that. I know we've got an FAQ document, which we've just posted above here, that actually outlines a lot of the questions and that users have had. But maybe if you just touch on maybe some of the most common ones that we've seen.
So yeah, let me open this up. I know that there's a lot of kind of the most frequently asked questions. I'd love to start answering them about the token generation event. Some of it is about the criteria for the BDXN airdrop. I think there's a very detailed airdrop, and maybe I'm wrong on some of these, but one of them is having a fully completed profile, having a certain balance of bond points, having 3 fully connected connections, meaning 3 people you've invited and have also gone through the process. Those were some of the criteria for season 1, right? Then where to check if I'm eligible for the airdrop? We have a full airdrop checker. You can check it on OKX, right? So if you go to web3.okx.com, you'll be able to do the airdrop checker right there. Go to the, if you go to their Twitter and you just type Bondex, you'll find the airdrop checker on the OKX main website, and that's where you can check your eligibility, which is super cool. It's one of our main partners, and there's some exciting things coming up with them soon. How to claim the airport? We have a portal claim airdrop token via a company called it's one of the 2 main ones. There's Magna and there's another one, I forget the name. It's called Sibley, but that's the backend that we've used. And essentially you go on there, you connect the wallet you provided, and you'll be able to claim. The cool thing is that you claim per minute, per second. As time goes by, keep going on there. You'll be happier and happier because we're going to be increasing the value of this company. And it's actually a good thing that it was vested over time, because those bags are going to increase in value over time.
If I can just interject here, Ignacio, this is an important point in that how we've designed the airdrop isn't a big one-off moment, but we've obviously designed this to be seasons. So a lot of users asking, well, hang on, why can't I just, unlock everything straight away? How does it work? Sometimes there's gas fees that are associated that might be disproportionate to kind of the current value of airdrop that's in there. Maybe just unpack that a bit. And that's probably one of the things I've seen the most of our users kind of speak about.
So the thing is that what we've seen and what we learned from previous airdrops is that they don't do it, you need to reward the community for all the effort and time that they've put in. Absolutely. However, if you do it in an unsustainable way, it can crash, performance, and it ultimately can create unsustainable value appreciation for the token. We want people in it for the long term. So what we did is we did a 12-month vest. Every airdrop is going to be different, and some of them are going to be shorter, longer vestings, etc. But the thing is the long-term longevity, right? If you just create something that pumps and then, gets forgotten, you're not doing anything. We want to attract the right audience, the right community members, and a lot of them are already there. But yes, the idea is to create a token economy that is completely sustainable. Not many companies have achieved this at all. It is actually very hard to do. Something that links the performance of a product or service with the value of a token economy. I actually can't name you very many ones, maybe Pendle, Hyperliquid, but no one in the consumer app section has done this. However, as you know, I believe I'm very proud of what we've designed, and I think that the community members wanted to unlock it all at once. We tried to make those expectations, and we were very clear about things as much as possible. We will do an even better job going forward of explaining and managing those expectations going forward. However, just know that you were here for the long term. We're long-term builders playing long-term games, and this is built for the long term and longevity.
Yeah, awesome. Sam, is there anything that you wanted to add on to that?
Yeah, I think like the main thing I found of this whole thing, and as much as I would love that it balloons to a couple of billion valuation on the first day, I'm sure we all would have loved that. And the reality is that was very unlikely. And I think that you see companies do that and they collapse and go to zero, and then everyone ends up stuck and not being able to sell their token, and everyone's unhappy, including the team, because that means you haven't built something valuable. I see this as an opportunity for us to rebuild the company and build up on the fundamentals and that we've been building internally. I think part of that is on us. We haven't really done a great job of talking about a lot of the internal tooling and tech that we build. We haven't needed to. We've kept it a secret, or not a secret, just kept it amongst ourselves. And one of the things we're looking to do over the next coming week and month is start to share that with the community. They can see, hey, this is what these guys are actually building. This is how these things are being applied. These are where customers are using this technology. And I think that will help drive the token value and the valuation of the company as well. And just from that, which is much more important and much more sustainable than a super high token price on day one. I think that it goes against the default crypto view of let's try and make $1 billion overnight. If you make $1 billion over 10 years, you're still pretty good. So we just got to keep doing what we're doing and announce this stuff more to you guys. And that's what we're working on.
Fantastic. And Ignacio, final words for you to close this AMA out. How would you like to kind of end this here with the community?
Yes, guys. So listen, there are things out of our hands. The launch got manipulated. It's not fair, but very much like what Sam said, you can plan for every scenario, but many times in startups, and especially in crypto, which is still a little bit of the Wild West sometimes, you cannot plan for everything. Now, the thing of what you want is you want founders that are committed for the long term. We've proven that over the last 4 years. I'm not here to make a quick buck. I'm not here for it. I'm here for the long term to turn this into a multi-billion-dollar company. And that's where we're headed. So stick with us. This is just a blip. The ship is now in the water. It's on the best exchanges in the world. You guys can see that in the quality. These guys do a lot of due diligence. We are on the best exchanges in the world. We have a lot of healthy liquidity on both spot and perps, and we're primed for a comeback. So stay with us, stay tuned. The future is bright, and we're here for the long term.
Love it. Thank you, guys. We'll speak again soon.